Hello, my name's Anne and I'm the vicar of St Peter and St Paul, Seal, a church in Kent in the southeast of England. Of course, if you're from Seal Church of England Primary School, or you come to Seal Church or Messy Church or our children's choir, then you'll already know me. But if you don't, well, hello, it's good to have you with us. I've been missing everyone just recently because we've not been able to get together. And so I thought I'd make a little video. And in this video, maybe I'd do some of the things that we usually do when we get together. So I'm going to tell you a story in a moment. But before I do, I thought I'd do what we always do at Seal School when we start our collective worship. We light a candle, just like this one. And I'm going to do that now, if I can get it to light. Let's see. And when we've lit our candle, we've got some things that we say to each other. I say, peace be with you, and everyone answers, and also with you. So let's try that. Peace be with you. So here's the story, and it's the story of a man called Noah, and it comes from the very beginning of the Bible. Noah was a man who loved God, and he listened to God. And one day, Noah heard God speaking to him. I don't know how that happened, but it's what happened. And God said to Noah, "Noah, I've got a job for you." Noah said, "What is it, God? What can I do?" And God said, "Noah, I want you to build me a big boat." A big boat, thought Noah, but we live in the middle of dry land. But God said he wanted a boat. A big boat, we'll call it an ark. Ark is just another word for a box, really, and that's what this boat was going to be like. A great big box that floated on the waters. "But why?" said Noah. "Well, I want you to do it," said God, "because it's going to start raining soon, and it's going to rain so much that there's going to be a flood. But I want to keep you and your wife and your sons and their wives safe in the ark. And not just you, I want you to bring into that ark 2 of every kind of animal that there is. A male and a female." Well, that was a bit of a challenge, but Noah did it. He built this great big boat, the ark, with a roof and walls to keep the water out. Huge boat it was. And then into it he brought every kind of animal there was. There were armadillos and baboons and cats and dogs and elephants and animals that began with every letter of the alphabet. Perhaps you can think of some more later. And they all came into the ark, 2 by 2, a male and a female. And inside the ark they were all safe and cosy. And then, when they were all in, God shut the door. And Noah maybe felt a little bit silly sitting in that ark in the middle of dry land. But all the same, God had said it was going to rain. And so it did. At first it was just pitter-patter, pitter-patter, pitter-patter. But then it started to pour down and gush down and flood down. And it wasn't long before, whoop, whoop, there was a jolt and a judder, and the ark was afloat. Inside the ark, Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives and all those animals listened to the rain drumming on the roof of the ark. But they knew they were safe and they were cosy inside. And it rained for a day and 2 days. And 3 days, and 4 days, and 10 days, and 20 days, and 30 days, and 40 days. And on the 40th day, Noah sat there and he thought, what is happening? happening? Will it ever end? Has God forgotten us? But just at that moment, the drumming on the roof got quieter and quieter. Pitter-patter, 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 and the rain stopped. And high in a corner of the ark, where there was a little crack in the wood, a sunbeam shone through. The rain stopped, thought Noah. That's wonderful. And he clambered up to the top of the ark and he opened a little window and he peered out. But all around him there was nothing but water. Water everywhere, as far as the eye could see. The floods had come above the trees and above the hills and above the mountains, even the highest ones. Now what? Thought Noah. Well, every flood comes to an end. Every flood subsides sooner or later. The water dries up. We'll just have to wait until this flood ends. And so they waited. They'd already been in that ark 40 days. But they came to the 50th day, and the 60th, and the 70th, the 100th day, the 120th, the 140th, the 150th day that they'd been in that ark. And Noah sat in the ark and he thought to himself, what is happening? Will it ever end? Has God forgotten us? Just at that moment there was a jolt and a judder and a crashing and a grinding, and the ark had come to land. It had hit some rocks underneath it, and it was resting on the top of a mountain. So Noah clambered up to the top of the ark and he looked out of the little window and he looked all around, but still all he could see was water. There may be dry land or rocks underneath them, but he couldn't go out of that ark yet. There was nowhere that you could stand. No speck of land was visible. So Noah thought, what am I going to do now? Well, we'll have to carry on waiting, but I've got an idea. And he went down into the ark and he found the raven, a lovely bird with glossy black feathers. And he took the raven in his hands very gently and he climbed up to that window at the top of the ark. And he said to the raven, "Raven, fly around and see if you can find any land." And he threw the raven up into the air and off it went, and it circled and circled the ark, and then it flew off across the distant horizon. And Noah watched and watched, looking out of the ark. And then he saw it again, the raven flying back towards him, and the raven landed on the window of the ark. "No land then," said Noah. And there wasn't any, because the raven hadn't found anywhere it could settle. So Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives and all those animals waited another week. And then Noah thought, I'll try again. And he went and he found a dove, a lovely white dove, and he took it gently in his hands and he went up to the window at the top of the ark and he leant out of the window and he said, "Little dove, fly around and see if you can find any dry land." And he threw the dove up into the air, and the dove circled and circled and then headed for the distant horizon, and he watched it go till he couldn't see it anymore. And he waited and he watched. And there it was, coming back towards him. Oh, it hadn't found any land either. But then he looked. In its beak he could see it was carrying a twig, and on the twig were green leaves. It was the twig of an olive tree. Somewhere over the horizon there was an olive tree poking out of the top of the flood water. But still, the top of a tree wasn't going to be any good for Noah to go and live in, so he was going to have to wait a bit longer. So for another week, Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives and all those animals sat in that ark, and they waited. But after a week, Noah took the dove again, and he said, "Try again, little dove. Have another look." And he threw the dove up into the air out of the window, and the dove circled the ark, and then it flew away right over the horizon. And Noah watched, and Noah waited, but the dove didn't come back. "That's great news," said Noah. "That must mean that it's found somewhere it can build a nest with that little twig." And so Noah waited a little bit longer, but soon he found that when he looked out of the window, there was dry ground. A bit muddy, but there it was. Ground that you could walk on, right out of the ark. So they opened the door, and all of them came out. Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives, and all those animals, the armadillos and the baboons and the cats and the dogs and the elephants and all the rest of them, trooped out of the ark. And they all said thank you to God, because God had been with them. He hadn't forgotten them, not once in all that time. He kept them safe in that ark where they could be cosy and snug. And now they could start a whole new life in a whole new world. And God said to Noah, "Noah, did you wonder sometimes whether I had forgotten you?" Noah said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I want you to know that I would never leave you and never forget you. And so I'm giving you a reminder of that. Look up into the sky." And Noah looked up into the sky, and there in the sky there was a beautiful rainbow. Red and orange, and yellow and green and blue and purple. The rainbow shone like jewels. And Noah looked at the rainbow, and God said to him, "That's the sign that I will never forget you, never leave you. I'm always with you." And that's the story of Noah. And I think it's a very good story to remember, because sometimes we think, is it ever going to end? Has God forgotten about us? And the answer is no, of course God hasn't forgotten about us. God's always with us. That rainbow is the reminder of it. And I wonder whether you might like to make a rainbow. I know that seal cubs and beavers have done this. They've drawn rainbows and they've put them in their windows. So maybe you could do the same. And then anyone who comes past would know that you haven't forgotten them. And maybe the doctors and nurses and paramedics and all the delivery drivers who are working so hard to look after us all at the moment, maybe they'd see it and they'd think, I haven't been forgotten about either. Or, if you'd like to, maybe you could make an ark. You could make a junk model art out of things you've got lying around at home. Doesn't matter what it looks like, so long as you enjoy making it. Or you could make a blanket ark, like a blanket fort, with blankets and chairs and tables, and you could pretend to be Noah or some of the animals inside that ark. Anyway, there's some ideas for you if you're looking for something to do in the next couple of days. When we come to the end of our collective worship at Seal School, there's something we always do, which is that we blow out our candle. So I think maybe that's something we ought to do. Of course, it's a bit difficult. You know, we choose a child to come and do that. A bit more difficult when you're all on the other side of a screen. But all the same, let's have a go, okay? So, here we go. If I say 1, 2, 3, blow, can you blow? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, blow. I don't think we were blowing hard enough. Can you blow harder? Let's have another go. 1, 2, 3, blow. There we are. So that's all for now, but maybe I'll make another video in a while, and I hope I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.